When it comes to these small, medium-sized businesses, as the owner or the one who's running things, you usually have 3 types of bottlenecks. And these are either your skills, your traits, or your beliefs. Today, I'm going to show you a framework that I use whenever I get stuck in my business and want to break the plateau. But to be honest, you can apply it to pretty much any situation in life that you feel stuck in and don't want to be in anymore. Before we get into the framework, there's one thing you have to understand, and that is that there are no business problems. There are also no relationship problems or no life problems. There are only you problems. What I mean by that is that you are the common denominator between all these things. You are the one who's making the decisions. You are the one who handles shit. You are the one who decides, okay, that's what I'm going to think about this. That's my perspective here. This is how I'm going to deal with that. This is what I'm going to do about this. You are the one factor that you can influence, change, and improve. Because it's very easy to say, oh, well, customers just don't want to pay more for my service. Or this input that I use for my business, it costs too much, so I can't increase my profit. Same goes for relationships and other stuff as well. You can easily say, well, if that just wasn't like that, then everything would be fine. Yeah, true, but you can't do shit about that, in most cases at least. But one thing you can change, you can influence, you can improve is how you deal with these things. It's you. So what I said, that there's no business problems, only you problems, it's both good and bad news. It's bad news because you can't just push it off and put the responsibility elsewhere. You have to take the responsibility. But the good news is nobody can keep you from doing that. Nobody can keep you from sitting your ass down and saying, okay, this is an area that I need to improve in, so now I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to get a better result. So with that out of the way, let's get into that framework. Let's see how you can get unstuck and really break these revenue, these profit walls in your business, how you can grow it even if it feels like you've already done everything. When you're stuck in your business and you can't get to the next level because it seems like no matter what you do, something's always holding you back, the first thing you have to identify is your bottleneck. So if you imagine a bottle, the smallest part is the bottleneck. So how much can flow out of that bottle or into the bottle is limited by that bottleneck. So even if you make the bottle bigger, well, you can't fill it up any faster or have more outflow from it because, again, the bottleneck is the smallest part, and that's what limits you. So when it comes to businesses, and I'm mainly talking about small businesses, either solopreneurs or a guy who has like a small team of people who's running an e-commerce store. So that kind of thing. We're not talking about multinational corporations. When it comes to these small, medium-sized businesses, as the owner or the one who's running things, you usually have 3 types of bottlenecks. And these are either your skills, your traits, or your beliefs. So let's go through them one by one so you understand what I mean. The first bottleneck are your skills. When I started my writing business, I sucked at writing because I had never done it before. And this limited me from making more money, from attracting more customers, from growing my business, from growing the bottom line. And this is very straightforward. If you're simply not good at doing something, then that will hold you back. Whether it's something like sales, whether it's delegation, whether it's content creation, whether it's marketing, whether it's actually performing the service you're performing or providing the product you provide, whatever it is, if you're simply not good at it, that becomes a bottleneck real quick. Second possible bottleneck, traits. Once I had solved the skill issue and my writing became somewhat decent, customers started reaching out to me. They asked me, hey, can you write this copy or this content for my website, my email, my whatever? And I started onboarding more and more clients, and eventually I ran into another bottleneck, and that was that I didn't have enough time to serve all of them. And this was just partly because I spent so much time writing, but rather because I spent so much time with all the admin stuff. Onboarding, the invoices, the whatever, you know the drill. Right? Problem was, back at the time, I was this one-man show. Everything I did in my life, I did it myself. I just wasn't the type to delegate. It just wasn't my character. It wasn't who I was. So I hit that wall in my business. I hit that revenue ceiling, and whatever I did, I couldn't get past it because I simply didn't delegate. So I didn't have any time to actually work on the business and grow it. And in the end, I burnt myself out, and I learned a very valuable lesson. And that lesson was that if I wanted to grow my business, I had to become someone who delegates stuff. So I hired a VA, I onboarded him, gave him all the admin stuff, and I saved about 10 to 20 hours per week on average, which is insane. I mean, imagine what you would do with 10 to 20 extra hours per week. So character traits, they're not just about delegation, they're also about your discipline. So if you say, hey, I'm going to get up in the morning at 5 o'clock, go work out, and then work on my business, do you actually do that, or do you snooze your alarm? They're about interpersonal skills, which influence your hiring decisions. They're about your reliability with yourself and others. They're about your stress tolerance. So how do you handle the stress from the business? Do you crumble under it? Do you let it out on someone else? Does it influence your mental health? And so on and so forth. Third bottleneck, and now we're getting into the juicy part, are your beliefs. Before I even started my business, I was enrolled in a prestigious master's program at like one of the top business universities in Europe, and I had my internships and I had my work offers lined up and everything, and it all looked good on paper, but something in me realized, man, it's really not what I want to do. But it didn't have a way out. It was the only world, the only reality I knew. It's like you get a good degree, you get good grades, you get a prestigious 9 to 5, and that's going to make you money, it's going to make you happy and whatever. But of course, it didn't. So I discovered this website, medium.com, where you could write blog articles and get paid for it. I had always liked writing, so I decided to write a couple of articles just for shits and giggles. And in the first month, I uploaded 4 articles, which took me probably 15 to 20 hours to write in total. And I got paid 22 cents. Now, these 22 cents, they were the best 22 cents I ever earned, because with these 22 cents, my beliefs shifted massively, because I realized that I could make money online with something that I loved on my own terms. And this blew my mind and opened up a whole new world for me. And it took about 3 or 4 months until I said, you know what? Fuck this 9 to 5. Fuck this route I'm on. I want to do my own thing online because I see it's possible and I just have to scale it. So with a simple shift in belief, I turned my whole life around. And that is why beliefs are so powerful, because they govern everything you do. They govern how you perceive the world. Because I guarantee you that right now you have certain beliefs about your business. You have the belief that your service has to look a certain way, that customers are only willing to pay a certain amount of money, that you have to work a certain amount of hours per week to keep things running. And as long as you keep these beliefs, that is what you're going to create in your reality as well. So usually when you look at your business and you think, man, I'm doing everything right, like I'm putting in the work, I've got the skills, I've got the knowledge, I've got everything, but I'm still not moving forward. That is usually a limiting belief you hold, because it keeps you in that reality where you are right now, and they can be very tricky to discover and to solve. Just imagine for a second how your business could thrive and how your life could look if these things you believed in weren't true. Just imagine for a second. Because the truth is, you have no way of 100% knowing if they are true and if that reality you're living in currently is the only one you can live in. Because every belief you have comes from how you interpreted your past experiences, which was likely taught to you by other people who had the same limiting beliefs. So now that you have the knowledge, let's get into the actual framework where I'll show you how to apply it so you can break the barriers that you have in your business and hit that next level. The framework itself is super simple. It's 3 steps. First, identify your bottleneck. So for most businesses, this will be some sort of bottom line problem, not enough cash coming in. And then this might translate to something above the bottom line where it's either not enough revenue or costs are too high. Then on the other side, you might also have the problem that you're either working too much or you don't have enough time to get everything done. Very similar, but slight difference. Anyway, these are the most common problems or bottlenecks I run into with the business owners I work with. Step number 2, identify whether your current bottleneck is a skill trait or belief issue. Let's take, for example, you're not making enough sales. So this might be a skill issue because you're simply not good at marketing or selling to people. It might also be a trait issue because you're too much of a nice guy and people pleaser who doesn't want to confront people about their objections. It might be a belief issue where some part of you believes that sales is shady, it's pushy, you're just extracting money from people, you're actually doing them a disservice, and this belief then manifests in all your actions and behaviors. Step number 3, decide whether you need more information or implementation. If you don't know how to be more disciplined, how to sell, how to delegate, how to do X, Y, Z, that's an information issue. Simply hop on Google, type in how to XYZ, the thing you want to do, and you'll have the information. Don't overcomplicate it. Information is everywhere. 99% of it is free. It really doesn't take much to find the thing you're looking for. The other part, implementation, is a little trickier, and that's where most people struggle because, again, we live in the age of information. It's everywhere. But taking action on that is what separates the people who succeed from the ones who don't. And the implementation of actually solving the bottleneck depends on what kind of issue it is. So if it's a skill issue, you can solve that by going through iteration after iteration after iteration. So you simply do something to the best of your ability, you review, you assess your mistakes, you assess what you did well, and you do better in the next round. So when I started writing, that's what I did. I wrote an article, I reviewed it, I sent it to people, I said, look, what do you like about it? What don't you like about it? I get feedback, implement it, get better, get better, get better. Building a certain trait is very straightforward as well. To become a different person, you need to change how you view yourself because that actually turns you into that person. When I prepared for my bodybuilding competition a few years ago, I did not even ask myself whether I'm gonna eat that greasy burger and cheat on my diet. It's the thought didn't occur to me because I was so deep into the identity of an athlete that it simply was no question. So for example, if you want to become more disciplined because you want to get up early so you can get all your shit done and then work on your business, you have to ask yourself, how would a disciplined person act? And then do that in every area of your life. And you can take the smallest things. You can take the stairs instead of the elevator. And every time you do that, it will signal to yourself, oh, okay, I'm a disciplined person. So you stack these small things and over time your whole identity shift. The same with delegating something in your business. Start small. Give people like a small thing. Just look for a virtual assistant online. These small things will change your identity and that they will then show up in the big important things. Last but not least, working on your beliefs. These are the trickiest of the bunch because they can be very subconscious and very hidden. So the first step is to be super aware with yourself and uncover your hidden limiting beliefs and ask yourself, okay, why am I acting this way? Why am I thinking this way? Is this really accurate? Is this belief true? Where did I learn that from? Did it serve me? Does it serve me? Again, they're the hardest to find out and work on, but the reward is massive because they will change everything about your reality, everything about your actions and behaviors. And that is the reason why I focus on them with the guys I work with, because I know that when we shift that, everything else follows. If you think you have to work 60, 70 hours a week because else your business is going to go downhill, or because you're only worthy if you work hard, you will subconsciously generate more work for yourself if you subconsciously believe that working hard is the way you get self-worth. So if you want to change that, become aware of it, make the conscious decision of the new belief you want to adopt, and you will realize that not everything explodes, that you're still lovable, that you're still worthy, that your business is still running. But you have to get out of that paradigm because else it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You will subconsciously generate more work for yourself because it's the only way to hold up your self-worth. So let's recap that framework. If you're stuck in your business, if you hit a plateau, you first have to identify what the bottleneck is. Is it a bottom line, a revenue, a cash flow issue? Is it you not having enough time? Whatever it is, become very clear about the issue. Second, find out what the actual bottleneck is. Is it a skills problem? Is it a traits problem? Or is it a belief problem? And then in the last step, identify whether it's simply a question of gathering more information because you don't know how to do something, or is it a question of implementation, changing your behaviors, and actually doing the work so you can either improve your skills, change your character traits, or adopt beliefs that serve you more. Now I invite you to look at your business, to look at the current problem you have, and go through this framework and ask yourself, okay, what is really the issue here? What's holding me back? How can I solve that? And I guarantee you, taking this perspective will give you a whole different approach, and it will allow you to bypass a lot of the excuses and a lot of the bullshit. Thank you so much for watching. If you found the video helpful, please give it a like, hit that subscribe, send it to someone who'd benefit from it as well. It massively helps the channel grow, and that motivates me to put out more videos for you. So thank you so much for that. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.